Louis and the Enchanted Creatures. Story and illustrations by Marcy Dans Lee. There was once a little boy named Louis who spent most of his time reading all kinds of books. He was a curious little boy and wanted to know many things. Louis' favorite book was a huge violet one, which contained secret stories about enchanted creatures of the Philippines. One day, Louis read the book under a huge balete tree. The balete tree had strange twisting branches from which enchanted creatures were believed to emerge. The book was very interesting indeed. As he read, Louis met each enchanted creature in his mind. The tiyanak was another creature to beware of. It appears as a crying baby lost in the forest. If you should stop and ask why the baby is crying, the tiyanak immediately grabs you with its sharp claws and eats you up. Yes, the tiyanak is indeed a hungry little monster. Another enchanted creature was the tikbalang, which has the face of a horse and the body of a man. When the moon is full, it sits in the balete tree, awaiting its victim. The tikbalang eats anyone that passes under the tree in just one gulp. Then, of course, there was the aswang, which is a horrible witch with magical powers. The aswang fools people by disguising itself as an animal. It steals chickens and pigs from nearby farms and frightens people with its ugliness and magical powers. The nuno sa punso was an old creature that lives under a mound of soil. In passing any mound of soil, you have to excuse yourself and greet the unseen nuno to show respect, or else it will cast an evil spell on you to show its anger. Finally, there was the batibat, a snake-like creature that lives in trees. The good batibat guides and watches over travelers at night with its strange silence. Night had quietly fallen as Louis finished reading. The moon was full and strange shadows fell across the forest. Hungry for dinner, Louis began to walk home. Suddenly, the book flew from his hand and lay open on the ground. "It must be the wind," whispered the frightened little boy, though there was not even the slightest breeze in the air. Louis bravely peered into the book, and from its pages emerged the 6 enchanted creatures. "Greetings from the underworld," said the majestic tikbalang. "We have been asked to prove you the greatness of our powers." "This can't be true," cried Louis. "I must be dreaming." "If you can't believe it, then we are prepared to show you a little demonstration, are we not?" said the nuno. "Yes!" shrieked the creatures. Louis was too shocked to move. He just stood there, open-mouthed. "Relax," the capre consoled him. "Here, share a cigar with me. You wouldn't have a match on you by any chance, would you?" Luckily, Louis did, and handed it to the capre, but as it puffed, it began to cough. "My mom has been telling me to quit smoking. I really should." The capre's cough woke the sleeping tiyanak and it began to cry. Oh, baby, did it truly cry? "Ah!" wailed the baby tiyanak with feeling. "Stop it!" shouted the angry tikbalang. "We are here to prove our powers, not to look like fools." "What will Louis think of us now? Stop it! I say stop it!" "Ah!" answered the tiyanak, which meant I can't. By this time, the batibat wanted to leave the tree to comfort the tiyanak, but it found itself stuck in the tree because it had eaten too much for dinner. Meanwhile, the aswang clung onto the tree because it was afraid of all the noise and the dark. Poor aswang! Louis could no longer contain his laughter. "What a funny bunch of creatures!" "Excuse me, sir," he said to the nuno, "but can you—" "Don't bother me now, son," replied the nuno. "Powers to show? What powers? I should remember." "Remember what?" "What? I forgot." This was absolutely and extremely ridiculous. The capre continued coughing. The tiyanak went on crying. The tikbalang shouted angrily. The batibat was still stuck. The aswang trembled in fear, and the nuno continued to forget. Only Louis laughed. As dawn neared, the creatures grew quiet. Please, Louis, they begged. Do not tell a soul of our real nature. People need to be frightened of us. If you are able to keep this a secret, we will send you a gift. So Louis grew up to be a young man. He had been able to keep his encounter with the enchanted creatures a secret. And mostly as young men do, Louis eventually fell in love with a young woman. It was only on Louis' wedding day that he realized his young bride coughed in the company of smokers, easily cried, angered quickly, ate a lot, feared the dark, and was hopelessly forgetful. Could it be? No, it couldn't. It couldn't be. But it was. As a matter of fact, she was. Louis' bride-to-be was the gift that the enchanted creatures promised, and she knew about it. See? The end.